Soundproofing do's and don'ts. Don't do this where the frame is connected to the flanking wall and the ceiling. Do this where the frame is isolated from the flanking wall and it's isolated from the ceiling and the wall. Don't install the frame to the floorboards and to the ceiling board. Instead, cut open the floor and cut open the ceiling so you can tuck the system down below the floor and above the ceiling, because that area above the ceiling and that area below the floor is still the direct noise path of the party wall. Don't leave an RSJ uninsulated and unsound dampened. Always sound dampen that RSJ like this, and make sure it's fully insulated. Don't ever go over the top of a dot and dab plasterboard wall. Always remove the dot and dab plasterboard before doing any soundproofing. Don't just cut a great big hole in the wall for a socket. Always put the same material around the socket box that you have on the wall system. So you can still have flush sockets, just make sure the same materials that you use on the wall goes behind the socket. Don't use rigid insulation to try and soundproof a wall. We like to use a Rockwool RW3 to reduce neighbour noise. Don't use blown insulation when using resilient bars. It compromises the resilient bars. Instead, use a Rockwool slab insulation between the joists. When you pull up your bedroom floor, don't leave great big holes in the structure. Always brick those holes up and insulate back from the conflicting party wall. Don't ever let a resilient bar touch an RSJ. Don't ever use cavity slab insulation as a means for soundproofing. Don't install coving back to your new soundproof room. The hollow void channels the noise around the room. Go for nice tight corners, see how you go. If you can't live without the coving, then install the coving back afterwards. At least you've given it a go without the coving first. If you're building a soundproof room, never build the walls on top of the floor. Always build the floating floor last, after all the walls have been soundproofed. Don't leave any dot and dab plasterboard, any insulation board on the wall. Always remove that before you do any soundproofing. Don't leave any hollow stud walls perpendicular uninsulated. Always insulate those stud walls which are perpendicular to the separating party wall. Follow for more useful tips on how to reduce noise in your home.